Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we are taking a little break from my usual content and covering something that is tech adjacent. Now, I'm a pretty handy guy and usually jump at the opportunity to fix something in our house or build something if my wife asks for it. Now, we are in an apartment currently, but a while back we lived in a villa where I built a cover for our balcony. I installed a lift kit and new shocks on my Gladiator. I've also installed and removed and then installed again in a slightly different location, literally hundreds of pictures, shelves, and wall decorations. I am no stranger to a drill. Not an expert by any means, but I have been using drills for a good 30 years now. These right here are my drills of choice. The Bosch 12-volt baby drill for light work, which, as you may notice, is absent because I have literally lost it. Like, I searched forever in all the usual places, but since we just had maintenance done on the apartment, everything kind of just got thrown around. So it is missing. Now, I've had these for over 10 years now, I think, and they are still going strong after many drops and bumps and pretty routine use. So I've got a couple of questions I'd like answered today. What makes a good drill? Could this drill be made better? And finally, is a smart drill the future or just a gimmick? Let's discuss that. If you aren't familiar, the typical interaction you have with a cordless drill is basically in 5 places. The first is loading up the battery. Usually it's dangerously close to dead because you forgot to charge it. Easy. The second is the chuck. If your drill isn't 1,000 years old, you will have a keyless chuck like shown here. Now these you can rotate to loosen, put in your drill bit, and then tighten them up. So let me know in the comments if you remember using those keyed chucks and how frustrating those used to be to use, especially if you lose that key. Third is the high and low gear selection. Now this literally switches the drill into a high gear ratio for faster speeds of the bit, or a low gear ratio for lower speeds and more torque. Fourth is your reversing switch. Click it this way, the drill turns clockwise. Physically hit it on the other side and it reverses the direction. And last is the speed control trigger. Pretty self-explanatory on this one. More in means more fast. Now fancier drills will have torque control, which this one does. Now that allows you to set a point at which the drill will stop engaging the chuck. So this is useful if you have smaller or more fragile hardware that will snap if you apply too much torque. Set it low and just go to town. We can demonstrate that with this one. It's got a setting for, this is a hammer drill as well. So it's hammer, drill, and then the screw symbol there. So you put it there, and then you have all the different torque settings along the top here. So once I set it to 1, if I hold it here, it's going to spin until it reaches that torque setting and then stop. So there's also a drill mode here, which I'm not going to test out because that's going to hurt my hand. And that applies maximum torque. So got the basics? Now let's take a look at this. Is the Blackzero 16.8 volt drill kit. More specifically, the 16.8 volt max smart cordless brushless drill with intelligent LED screen, 5 working modes, a max torque of 60 Newton meters, big old 16,000 milliamp hour battery, Type-C charging, self-stop functioning, 1,000 revolutions per minute spinning, drill with 46 bits and 8 drill bits. Whew. Let's open it up and take a look. Comfort is up first. It fits in the hands well and seems to be decently light. Not cheap light, but like light for a drill, if you get what I mean. If you pick up a drill and think, man, it feels like there's nothing inside, chances are it's not going to do so well. The balance is a little off because of how the battery is set up. The handle is, well, basically your battery. So all the weight is put up above your hand. Now I'm guessing that will add a little more snapping torque when getting towards that upper Newton meter range. Now on something like the Bosch, the battery is down below your hand, so the weight is more evenly distributed from top to bottom. Now you can see just from turning it on here, it doesn't really move that much, right? Start this one up, and it's got that torquiness to it. The motor is brushless, which is pretty typical these days for cordless drills. They have come down significantly in price and offer better efficiency, lifespan, and are quiet-ish. You can describe this motor as incredibly torquey to a fault. More on that later. The battery is pretty normal for a smaller cordless drill at 1.6 amp hour. On my Bosch over there are different sizes you can get depending on your needs. Like all cordless drills in existence, the battery is removable, but I did not see an option to get another battery for this. So that kind of defeats the purpose. What's pretty neat about this battery is with the USB-C port on the bottom, it can be used as a power bank. It's not a unique feature by any means because adapters do exist for other cordless drill batteries, the bigger batteries like that. And that's been around for quite some time now. This comes with a case, which is pretty useful to keep things organized. Each bit and extension has its own spot and everything stays secure, even when thrown in a suitcase and tossed around. I can vouch for that. Now, this can be stacked with other boxes that house things like electrical bits and bobs, and I think there's another one with common tools. Those can be put on top and then locked together to make one kind of bigger toolbox. I don't have any other layers, so I can't speak to how well they lock together, but judging by how this is designed, I don't really see there being an issue. Now, what we have to do is see if it passes the shake test. And shake it out. Open, and everything is still together. Now, I recently did a studio redesign due to some major repair work in my apartment, and I made a point to use this drill for absolutely everything I could to give it a fair shake. Assemble a table, I'd use that drill. Take apart my Roomba because it definitely needed some cleaning, use a drill. Hang a picture, use the drill. Now, I even took this on a business trip to service some equipment at a remote location. After all of this, I can confidently say that you should absolutely 100% trust me here, listen to the following pros and cons, then make the decision yourself. Okay, so what's good about this? The touch selection of torque settings on the back here is gimmicky, but in practice, I mean, it worked pretty well. Having the settings staring you in the face as you almost destroy a really tiny screw on the drill setting, it really helps to avoid doing that. I don't know how many times I have left my Bosch on the wrong settings and snapped the head right off of a bolt. The ability to charge your phone or other device off the battery is a huge bonus, and something that I used recently. While I was at that remote site, I had my phone die, and instead of walking the mile to my car and sitting there to charge it, I plugged it into the battery and kept working. I did not think that this would be a useful feature, but turns out it was. I'm putting this next one as a pro just because there is potential for it to be a feature rather than a failure, but that is heavily dependent on your history with drills. If you have spent a decent amount of time with a drill in the past, you're probably familiar with the feel of the reversing switch because it's the same on like 99% of drills. Push it from the right side, drill turns clockwise. Push it from the left side, drill turns counterclockwise. It is a tactile confirmation of which direction the drill is going to turn. Now, on this, it's a button. Press it, and the drill reverses. Press it again, it switches back. It's stupidly simple if that other type of switch isn't ingrained in your brain. Unfortunately for me, I absolutely could not get past the sequence of grab the drill, see what direction I need to go in, then go about my business. That results in hitting the button every time I start, and more often than not, starting in the wrong direction. It's also pretty easy to bump if your drilling requires a firm grip. Again, now it's a pro if you've never used a drill before, con if you have. Now, let's move on to the bad. The low speed control is lacking. On the Bosch drill, and so many other drills I've used in my lifetime, you have absolute control over the speed of the bit from very close to 0 RPM up to its max. Let me show you real quick. So on the one setting, so the low speed, I can make it go almost down to 0. I mean, that is very slow. And it's very easy to get to that point. With the Blackzero, you start pulling the trigger and nothing happens. Then, bam, there's a kick of torque and the drill is spinning pretty quick. Check it out. That's as slow as I can make it go. No control at the lower speeds makes this really hard in applications where you need that finesse, like when trying to get a screw started. Another neat feature is the light being right up underneath the chuck here. On the Bosch, the light is down on the bottom and it shines up, which, you know, your hand can get in the way, especially if you're wearing a glove or something, and in tight spaces it can get blocked. Having the light right there, directly in line with whatever you're going to be using the drill for, I think is much better. And that is definitely the case for other drills. It's not like it's unique just to this one. This auto setting is garbage. I don't know what algorithm they're using to make this auto, but it's most definitely not good enough. It is like combining the speed of the drill setting with the false hope that it will stop without aggressively trying to rip the drill out of your hand. With no real scale of what setting you're on, and instead relying on small screw, slightly bigger screw, then top dog screw, I found myself relying on just stopping when I thought the torque was right. Moving on, I think the torque that this has should be a pro, but it's actually a con. This isn't necessary for the work that this will be performing, and in most cases, having too much torque is detrimental. It's a smaller size drill, which can be used on smaller projects, most of which do not require a significant amount of force. And the fact that all of that torque is not applied evenly makes it even worse. This next one I haven't tested, so I can't say 100% for sure, but I don't believe that this is gonna hold up to abuse at all. And as much as you might want me to, I am not gonna subject this to a battery of tests to see if it holds up. No matter what, this is not the next drill for your construction job. It's not gonna be thrown in the back of your truck after a long day of punching holes through sheet metal or wood. It doesn't belong outdoors at all, and I would say shouldn't even be on your radar if you use a drill more than a handful of times a week. Cost for this is a huge concern. Right now, this is $200 on Amazon. There is a $50 coupon to bring that down to $150, but geez, that is expensive. Yes, you do get a hard case for it, and you also get a complete bit set. But at that price, you can also get a name brand drill. 2 drills if you look at the Milwaukee set here. That's $130 right now, and the leftover 20 bucks can get you a decently large bit set. Let's move on to my final thoughts. This drill is a neat gift for somebody that doesn't really know about drills. It looks fancy and has the nice touch controls, but that doesn't really add to the effectiveness or durability of the drill. If anything, it may reduce the lifespan. I don't know if I can fully recommend this to heavy users, and if light duty is your deal, you might be better off buying a cheaper drill. You might like the looks of this, or maybe everything in your life has to be the smart version. Now, if that describes you, then head down to the description and check it out using the affiliated link. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.